and know your rights like never before. My name is Yray, and this is 2 minutes past 5 p.m. I will be sitting in for Gbola Oba today, who is going to join us virtually. So together we're going to do this with our very special guest in the studio on Law FM 103.9. As usual, we will start with our Nigerian proverb for today. And our Nigerian proverb for today says that the mouth that eats pepper is the one that the pepper influences. Again, the mouth that eats pepper is the one that the pepper influences. And summary analysis of some of today's major news headlines is Bat missing again at another presidential candidate's interactive session with the voting public. At this point, I'm going to welcome Mr. Gbola Oba, who is going to join us virtually so that we discuss a little bit on the headlines. Good afternoon, Mr. Gbola. Okay, so he's having a little bit of network situation, but very quickly, just to give you a rundown of the headlines before we get into today's conversation. Bats missing again at another presidential candidate interactive session with the voting public. Also on the headlines, okay, I think we got through to Mr. Gbola. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, Mr. Gbola, can you hear me? Hello? Okay. While we are trying to work that out, still on today's headlines, Bats missing again at another presidential candidate's interactive session with the voting public. PDP crisis, to hell with Atiku, autumn fumes. PDP crisis, to hell with Atiku, autumn fumes. And also on today's headlines, Peter Obi publicly remands with Dino Melaye at the Abuja presidential candidate town hall session. I think we saw a clip of that yesterday. It was not a very pleasant sight. And also, I think we also got a rebuttal from Dino Melaye this morning when he set up his I don't know what to say, but I in this moment I wish Mr. Gbola was here so that we bounce off ideas off of each other. But it was not a very pleasant sight, the situation. I'm not exactly sure what was unpleasant for me, but I know that I didn't really get a good feeling seeing Mr. Peter Obi react to him that way. And then also this morning, the follow-up that Dino Melaye did when he said, oh, I didn't say anything to him, I didn't do anything. It was just not what we wanted to get out of a presidential debate. I would say that it was disappointing, and I'm just going to leave it there until we're able to get through to Mr. Gbola if he has additional thoughts on some of the news making the rounds at this hour. But without wasting much time, let's take a quick break now and then come back to talk about our historic background. Hopefully then we'll be able to get through to Mr. Gbola, and of course afterwards we will introduce our guest for today. My name is Yray, and this is Power Corridors on Law FM 103.9. Don't forget, a lot later we'll open our phone lines for you to be able to call in and of course send in your questions. Our phone numbers meantime is 070-322-77338 or 090-9555-1039. Again, that is 070-322-77338 or 090-9555-1039. You can also join the conversation on our social media platforms. Interestingly, we are streaming live on Facebook. So Facebook is Law FM Radio, Instagram is Law FM Radio, and Twitter, it's Law FM_radio. To join the conversation, hashtag Power Corridor, hashtag Law FM 103.9 on Twitter. Again, it's hashtag Power Corridor, hashtag Law FM 103.9 on Twitter. And to get your loved ones to listen from anywhere in the world, it is www.lawfmng.com.
Hold on tight. I'm Olufemi Pedro. I'm Omoyele Showore.
My name is Honorable Akim Dixon.
This is Honorable Adekunle Akobada.
I'm Dele Momodu, and you are listening to Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment. The only law radio station.
Every individual should know about the law and their rights, because the law affects every aspect of daily living, irrespective of age or status. Law FM 103.9 ensures you get to hear the law, talk the law, and know your rights like never before. I am Khadija Okunulamidi. Keep listening to Law FM.
Not try, not go to your mind, kill him. Not every tight. Hey, not try, what you want to kill him? No, remove your mind, raise and wash out for your mind, baptize your mind, not day. Relax. No, I say not day, bro, not day. I didn't think my life, not day. Well, what way you move? The child less I tell you, they say not day. Oh, now you want to, but the next one not day.
Keep listening to 103.9 Law FM to be able to know you're right to me. Point you says so. Thank you.
Where the beat never stops.
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go on Law FM 103.9.
The passion to be creative, innovative, to climb higher and take the lead is what drives us on the station that inspires. This is Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment.
Let's talk about society, family, lifestyle, court cases, legal matters in the layman's perspective. This is Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment.
They are the leaders of the country today. Tomorrow has come. Law is meant to be understood by everyone in society, irrespective of age or status. No bias. It should be clear and precise. Law FM 103.9 gives you the best content, and they are here for you. My name is Khadija Okunulamidi, and I urge you to keep listening to Law FM 103.9.
Here is the station where the gavel and the mic pay respect, where knowledge and the law connect to inform, educate, and impact. Giving you a mastery of the law and your rights
in the best way possible.
Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment.
Yeah. Power Corridor on Law FM 103.9.
This is Law FM 103.9, your only law radio station where you hear the law, talk the law, and know your rights like never before. Yes, we're still on to Power Corridor with me, Yray, nicely sitting in for Mr. Gbola Oba, who is unavoidably physically present in our studio today, but is still trying, regardless, to connect with us online. But I think we have him just there now. Hello, Mr. Gbola, good afternoon. Hello, are you there? Hello? Okay. Hello, Mr. Gbola, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good afternoon and welcome. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to our listeners. And good afternoon, Lagos, all the way from Abuja.
All right. Welcome. So we did a bit of the introduction today already. We've talked about our proverb for today. So very quickly, let's get into the historic background.
Okay, let's go.
All right. I'm waiting for you to give us the historic background, Mr. Gbola.
You have to mention the items, the summary of this background of the guest.
Yes, because we've gone on with the headlines, so we're waiting for you to go on with the background.
Okay, let's do it the way we usually do it.
Okay.
Our guest today, the man with a rich cosmopolitan pedigree, who is contesting to govern West Africa, most cosmopolitan city-state, Lagos. His fascinating Lagos story must have started early in the first half of the 1800s, when one of his progenitors was sold into slavery on the shores of Lagos, but was freed by the British Navy and was resettled by the British West African Squadron in Freetown, Sierra Leone, as a captive. The captive was the title given to slaves that were liberated from slave ships like the famous Bishop Samuel Ajay Crowder, Christine Curtis, Adeni Jones, Samuel Johnson, who wrote the book History of the Yoruba, Christopher Shapara Williams, Nigeria's first lawyer, who was recorded to have spoken against the Dugat's 1914 amalgamation of North and South Protectorate, James Kinsinapula Davis, former British naval captain who introduced the planting of cocoa to Nigeria from present-day Bioko, then Fernando Po in today's Equatorial Guinea, and also started the first farmers cooperative Agege Planters Union in Nigeria more than a century ago. Farmers Babington Macaulay, Albert Macaulay, his father. His street phobia was initially fondly called survival in Freetown, a moniker which was ultimately contracted to the famous Vivour surname of the legendary lineage and descendants across West Africa. One of the children he fired in Freetown, William Hanem Bible, 1830 to 1890, traced his ancestry back to Lagos around 1855, from where he became profoundly rich, first as a palm oil merchant trading across the Gulf of Guinea. It is on record that King Jaja of Obo envied him for his success on mercantile skills, and other European merchants like John O, the founder of the famous company of the same name, John O PLC, respected him so much. It is also on record that when palm oil trading became not too profitable, he diversified into cocoa plantation on the island of Fernando Po and became the biggest and most successful planter in the whole of West Africa. With almost 200 years of scintillating family history of Oxbridge and other enviable cosmopolitan education, and ancestors in the profession, from surveying to law, in fact, the second indigenous High Court judge to be appointed in Nigeria before Sir Adetokunbo Ademola, who later became the Chief Justice of Nigeria, was in his bloodline. Gbadebo Rhodes-Vivour, also known as GRV, born on the 8th of March 1983, is a Nigerian architect, activist, and politician. He is the gubernatorial candidate of the Labour Party for Lagos State in the upcoming 2023 Lagos State gubernatorial elections. He was the senatorial candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) for the Lagos West Senatorial District in the 2019 general election. Indigenous of Lagos Island education, Bachelor and Master of Architecture, Master of Research and Public Policy, alma mater, University of Nottingham, United Kingdom, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, United America, and University of Lagos, UNILAG. Occupation, architect. Avocation, politician, environmental anti-genetically modified food activist. Wife, Dr. Yray Ofigo, PhD, Gbadebo. Parents, Olamide Rhodes-Vivour, not the retired Supreme Court Justice, and his father is often erroneously ascribed as Yray Rhodes-Vivour mother. He was born on Lagos Island. He grew up in Ikeja. He attended Chrisland Primary and Secondary Schools up to JSS3, and then proceeded to Paris, France, to attend École Active Berlin, where he completed his secondary education. He is from a family of famous lawyers and Jews. He is the son of Barrister Olawale and Yray Rhodes-Vivour, former Justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria and Jewish. Gbadebo Rhodes-Vivour is his uncle, while late Judge Akinwumi Rhodes-Vivour is the grandfather. He is the great-grandson to Stephen Bankole Rhodes, the second ever indigenous judge appointed in Nigeria. TRB, good evening and welcome to Paramount.
Good evening. That was quite remarkable.
You quite deserve it. With such a rich ancestry, somebody must let the world know that you are not only from a lineage that is historically fabulous, but indeed that you are indeed a gift of many cultures. Because when I was researching you, I was quite pleased to know that your maternal line is from the southeastern part of Nigeria.
Yes. And
in the backdrop of the ongoing COP27, and you are the self-professed environmentalist, what is your vision? What is the environmental vision for Lagos if you were to get the divine appointment as the governor of Lagos from May 29, 2023?
Okay, thank you for that question. For me, the most important thing will be to first change our understanding of what we consider as waste. I say to people that aside from our human capacity, in which we have very innovative people that live in Lagos, the next resource that we have is the amount of waste that we generate in Lagos State, and especially as we have such a small footprint, so it's easier to collect all that waste because of the small footprint of Lagos. So for me, it's one thing to reorganize and reorient people to understand how they collect the waste, for the state to manage that system properly so that the maximum amount can be generated from upcycling and recycling this waste, and also to separate the waste from the house and get the buy-in from not just the residents but from the local government as well, and incentivize the separation of this waste, because the funds will be given directly back to the local government to be able to use to fund their primary healthcare centers and primary school education. So the idea is to treat waste as wealth, and ensure that it's collected and separated efficiently from the homes down to whatever processing plants are going to be used. So organic waste will be trying to generate biogas from it and generate organic fertilizer from it. Plastics also will go through a separate route, and to do this as efficiently as possible. Also to start to allow for to expand the market, because right now it has been heavily politicized. You need political connections to get into the waste management business, and that in itself is reducing the scope of people getting into it. There are several parts of Lagos, even you'll be surprised, places there are places like I'm sorry, the local government is failing me now, but it'll come to me, that you would think are otherwise upwardly mobile, middle class. They don't have enough PSP. They don't have enough PSP presence in those local governments. So we need to expand that. We need to make sure that people are experiencing government at that level as well, across the entire state, not just in the wealthy or affluent parts. That's what we should.
In the backdrop of the campaign of calumny that was launched against Ambode when they attempted changing the waste management system in Lagos, and given the fact that majority of low-class women especially are empowered economically of some sort in the system that is presently running in Lagos, would you not think that it's going to be combustible for you to attempt to change it? And what is this idea, I may be misunderstanding you, of like government doing it when ordinarily we have a PPP architecture as it is now? How would you want to respond to those observations?
Okay, so the local government place I was talking about was Bagada earlier on that failed to come to me. But places like Bagada, there are parts of it that don't get PSP waste collection. I feel that the waste collection system should be able to employ as many people as possible, and also make sure that they earn good money. currently there's a racket that seems to be going on where government gives patronage to their loyalists, and then those people then subcontract this work to these ladies, and they're getting charges of that. So the money that's allocated for that is not going directly to the women, and for them to be getting a significant amount of money, right? It's still going through the whole racket of we subcontract these funds, and then some people do the work, and then we take a portion out, which needs to change. In relation to what happened to Governor Ambode, I understand that because that was still the same party, the same politicians and political will that was controlling that whole thing, and then there was a pushback against his vision. By God's grace, our government coming in will do away with all of that politicizing of waste management. We'll actually genuinely come in to manage the waste, not just waste and put it in landfills. The idea is to upcycle and generate wealth.
Let's leave COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, and let's come back to Lagos. You are content to be the gubernatorial candidate for the PDP. Unfortunately, you were defeated. And there was said to be an agreement that the victor or the winner was supposed to make you his deputy governorship candidate. But according to what he said when he guested on our show, he said you did not act honorably because if you knew you wanted that understanding to hold, you ought not and shouldn't have gone all the way to the tactical contestation with it. And so it's like you want on the one hand to eat your cake and on the other hand to have it. How would you respond to that?
Okay, so I will tell you how it factually happened, and then I'll tell you my opinion about what you just said. How it factually happened was I wanted to run and contest the election. I did not lose to him. I did not contest, right? On the field, I was about to go in, and then leaders of the party called him and made an agreement with him, and called me and made an agreement with me, and they had already been having these conversations ongoing. So the only reason why I withdrew from that contest was because we agreed right there on the field that I will be the deputy, right? And that agreement was created and fine-tuned by the leaders of the party, and I'm talking about BOT members of the PDP in Lagos State. These are not people that these are very serious people, and their vision for the ticket was that it would be an unbeatable ticket. And I'm younger than him. I serve as his deputy 8 years. I'll just be 47, and then I can run for governor. That was their position. And at a certain point, you need to, as an Omoluabi, you understand that your elders can see things that you don't necessarily see, and are working in the interest generally of the party to win. So that's what happened. I did not lose to him. I withdrew, and the sole reason for withdrawing.
So actually, I really want you to be very emphatic and very additional. So you literally did not contest the shadow election of the PDP governorship election with Jandor.
No, I didn't. I withdrew. I withdrew.
You withdrew.
I withdrew. And the withdrawal was based on the agreement that was made.
And the ballot was cast. Sorry about it. I need to get this right for subsequent. And when the ballot was cast, your name was not on the ballot.
Exactly. My name was on the ballot. No scores were recorded for me. Right? So that is what factually happened. Now, my opinion on what you said, he said. I feel that he is a man that lacks integrity. He is a spin doctor, and he tries to spin things to fit a narrative that he wants. So I've told you what happened factually, and you find that leaders of the party have come out to speak against him rubbishing agreements that they agreed with him, and he agreed to these terms. Ideally, he shall just let me contest. You know, he should have said to the leaders, no, we would like to contest, and I have my own idea for who I want as deputy and all of that, because that was not something I was particularly excited about.
In the backdrop, in the backdrop of the fact that the agreement reached within was ultimately outed by a prominent leader of the party, not only in Lagos but in the Southwest, and indeed a DOT member nationally, Chief Olafode George, and given the history of Chief George's family and the rich family in Lagos, was there a kind of, a form of a position, maybe the guy emphasized that, the maybe the government felt that all these hoppity Lagosians wanting to impose one of their children on him, they could ultimately politically differentiate or decapitate him when they win. Could that have instructed it? Just thinking from the other side of the coin. Would you think it was to Socrates within, you probably would have done the same?
No, I think that people should always carry themselves with integrity. No matter what your insecurities are, no matter how you feel, you communicate that. Like, these are respectable leaders that are old enough to be his father. He could have simply just said, "Sir, I don't think I can work with this man, and I have my own idea for who I want to be deputy," and it's finished. Right? You go into the contest, and if you win, you win. If Gbadebo wins, he wins, and then conversation can move on from there. Right? But you don't deceive people and it's not just me. I mean, he had an idea for who he wanted his deputy to be. He then nominated a number of people to go to Abuja for screening, wasted their time, wasted their money going to Abuja and all of that. For me, this is, at this point now, is a distraction. I just think that all that I took from it is integrity matters in politics, and it's unfortunate that, he handled it the way he did.
We've looked at the rearview mirror enough. Let's now look at the windscreen and the driving forward. It's interesting to have a picture, a mental picture, a summary of your idea of where you want to take Lagos to from where we are presently.
Yes.
As it is now, some of your opponents are indeed choosing Lagos as the Eldorado of Nigeria. They're using Lagos as the city state to be copied by other subnationals or other federating units. And what then can you do to transform this city, the city of Lagos? Sorry, I'm in Abuja now. To transform Lagos to where you want to take it to.
Yes. Okay, before you respond to that, let me quickly remind our listeners that this is an interactive session, and we are talking to the governorship candidate of the Labour Party, I beg your pardon, for Lagos State. And you can ask your questions, you can contribute, and you can join the conversation via our phone lines. The number is 070-322-77 338 or 090-9555-1039. Again, that is 070-322-77338 or 090-9555-1039. Alternatively, you can join the conversation on our social media. We are streaming live on Facebook. You can go there, watch the live session, and of course contribute on Facebook, Law FM Radio, Instagram, it's Law FM Radio, and Twitter, it's Law FM_radio. Please go on.
I think first and foremost we must understand that Lagos at this point is performing in a very mediocre way. I wrote an article in the papers recently talking about how highlighting all the factors that show that Lagos is not working. People wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, try and get to work for 8 every day. We have a situation where Lagos is surrounded by water, and you open your tap and water is not flowing except you have a pumping machine and your own water system. You have a situation where a lot of citizens are complaining about constant harassment from what they call agberos and touts that are state-backed and have the audacity to harass people because they know that the government is on their side. You have a situation where we have no mass transit system, and it's taking about 20-something years to build about 13 to 16 kilometers of rail. So Lagos State is way beyond below par. And if you look at the Economist ranking for worst or best cities in the world, it has consistently for the last decade been bottom 2, and it's only above war-torn countries like I think Iran and I think the other country The other, I'll remember
Iran and Yemen.
Iran and Yemen. Thank you.
Yemen.
Iran and Yemen. But it's important to realize that there was a time in Lagos State where you put on the tap and water comes out of it. In 1966, Lagos State was ranked by these same bodies as one of the best cities in the world. I think it was ranked number 64 out of about 100 as one of the best cities to live in the world. So, for me, my vision for Lagos is a Lagos that's run more efficiently, that's run transparently and accountably, a state where your resources that you have is doing the work that it's supposed to do. So you're not getting a bridge that's supposed to cost 1 naira for 4 naira. You're not getting a road that's supposed to cost 1 naira for 4 naira. Ultimately, by bringing in integrity into our government and our system, we're going to get times 4 of what we are currently getting just by doing that alone. Plugging loopholes as well and ensuring that everything we're doing, we're taking Lagos State to where it needs to be and where it actually needs to be now and start planning for the future, because we are way behind. We need to get all our 4 rail lines working immediately in the next 4 years. We need to, in the first 4 years, we need to make Lagos State a 16-hour economy. By the 8th year, we need to have made Lagos a 24-hour economy. That's when you start to get returns, right? Because now people are constantly rushing home, either because of traffic or either because they feel insecure. Now, having proper mass transportation system, and not just trains, but I'm also talking about moving people around with water, right? If you think about, I like the fact that you start with history. How did we used to move around the islands in Lagos before? It was by water. We need to dredge our waterways properly, put proper embankments, and we can do this affordably if there is transparency and accountability in the system, so that we can start having mass transit by water connecting Lagos East, Lagos West to Lagos Central in ways that have not been done before. So this is the vision that I have for just moving people around, business, and then this also starts to affect housing. It starts to affect healthcare, education, investments, and allowing for local governments to run sustainably by themselves, so that you're not burdening your transport systems. We want to develop Lagos in a way where you don't need to leave that local government. Your own general hospital is in your local government, right? All the services you need, and incentivizing businesses to be able to relocate to places because of this new transport system that's connecting Lagos and making everywhere in Lagos about 35 minutes by mass transit.
Some are of the opinion that you don't seem to be leveraging the phenomenal support that your party, especially that your presidential candidate, seems to be galvanizing in places like Lagos, especially Lagos, because you are the gubernatorial candidate of the party in Lagos. In fact, it was whilst I was researching your history that I also came across the fact that you are a multicultural, you are a nationally multicultural personage of Lagos. So, how would you respond to those who believe that you are not punching your weight regarding leveraging the fantastic obedience, especially among the youth?
We are. I would beg to differ on that, completely disagree. We are leveraging it from the multicultural level to the indigent level to the youth level to the Christian level. We are reaching out to all of these people, and more than anything, we are structuring our attack or our way to the polling unit. That's what we are doing, and we're doing a lot of things quietly, because there are a lot of people that are going to be working with us that are unhappy with the status quo, right? So there's a lot of work that's ongoing, and I'm sure it's going to come to the surface this month, going into next month significantly. So people that are having those thoughts, we're going to prove them wrong. There's a lot of work. It takes, when people are self-motivated, self-starters, like how you see all our support groups, the people behind this movement, they're people that you have to manage properly. You cannot just instruct them around because you are the one giving them money. No, they are giving you the money. They are funding themselves. They are mobilizing themselves. So we need to carry them along very well and carry them along in a way that we can drive all that energy to the polling unit.
How does it feel to be running as your own man on this occasion, literally getting groundswell, organic support from people who don't expect you to spend no shishi for them. And when you were in the PDP, and I wonder what is the ideological compatibility between the PDP that makes people like you and somebody like your presidential candidate, Peter Obi, to easily just flip the coin. One day you woke up as PDP members, and the other day when you thought you were not in PDP, ran into them all and became candidate.
I think that myself, Peter Obi, we represent the epitome of what a certain group of Nigerians are looking for. A group that believe in integrity, in intellectual capacity, that believe in vision, that believe in empathy, that even believe in love, right? This group of people are tired of the status quo. They want a leader that is energetic, is young, is vibrant, and we represent what that is for them. So we are bringing a new voter demography to the polling units, and these people also are taken by the idea that these people have the intellectual capacity to deliver. So when you ask me how did he feel, I describe it to people almost as spiritual, because when I came out on October 1st and I moved from Lekki to Surulere to Ikeja to Amuodofi, and I saw consistency in the energy levels of people, hope in their eyes, like excitement, and I know in my heart that I did not send money to these people. I did not mobilize these people. These people are not hailing me because I've shared money for them or they expect that I'll share money for them. I've not seen that in politics in a very, very long time. It was truly special, and I feel that is the only way that Nigeria will actually achieve servant leadership where the leader knows that his power comes from the people. He did not buy that power, and he is accountable to those people. And those people, if he messes up or she messes up, those people will remove him or her. I think that's when we start to have leaders that serve and actually put the interests of the people first.
Okay, if I may come in here, earlier in one of your answers, you mentioned your stance, or at least I could deduce from what you said, your stance on Agbero versus the people, the recurring fracas between the NURTW allegedly and drivers. Yes. I would like to know clearly your stance on that, and going forward, what practical steps would you take to most likely curb this to its barest minimum, because it looks like a problem that almost will never go away for Lagosians. No. What is your government planning to do to end this for Lagosians?
Well, first we must understand that there was
the past management, she means the past management,
yes,
the management from NURTW to form an agency now in Lagos called the Tax Management Authority or something like that.
Yes.
You want to?
Yes, so for me, we must remember that there was a time in Lagos where none of this existed. There was a time in Lagos where drivers were free to drive and they were not harassed, and it was not as though they were working for the Park Management Authority. You have about 120 plus billion that's generated by this authority every year, and there is no accountability or transparency of where does this money go? How does it make the lives of the drivers or the conductors any better? In Anambra, Governor Soludo has ensured that paying these taxes, you have access to primary healthcare insurance. That's not the case here, and that's why the bus drivers are striking. And it's even more than just the bus drivers. It's the nuisance that they are now creating in society, the violence that they're putting on regular citizens, and the backing that they have from the government. It was not clearer than during the NSAS when they came with BRT buses to the front of the State House in Alausa, with the governor sitting down in the office, right? And they came out with machetes because they knew that they are backed by the state government. So my government will not be trying to cut corners in suppressing votes, which is what the main value to the government is. We'll be automating the collection of these monies so that there can be transparency and accountability in the system. So these monies go in to make sure that government is delivering even more services to not just the bus drivers but to the people of Lagos in general. And then we'll be working with them the willing ones, to ensure that we create an alternative means of income for them. Right? There are many employability skills that we can teach them, and there are many processes we can put them on to be able to earn an alternative means of living. And even with all the construction and work that's going to be going on in Lagos, there's a lot of labor that's going to be needed, right? So these are things that we can key them into as well.
All right. Just remind our listeners that you can join the conversation via our phone lines if you have any questions. We are talking to the governorship candidate for the Labour Party, Gbadebo Rhodes-Vivour. I hope I pronounced it right. Gbadebo. I really apologize. But we have a comment on that here for Mr. Gbola. According to this contribution via our WhatsApp, says Mr. Gbola, intro of your guest is like when King Sunny Ade is singing songs of praises to a particular money spender. It is interesting when politicians call out another politician as someone that lacks integrity. There is no place for integrity in Nigerian political space. Under the nose of Mr. Integrity, PMB, the country has experienced unprecedented corruption, impunity, and malpractices. So no politician should speak about integrity again. I wish our guest well in his quest to become the governor of Lagos State, but leveraging on NSAS protests as an advantage to win anything in Lagos State is a misgiving. Do you have any reactions to this?
Well, first of all, it's unfortunate that the quality of politicians and leaders we've had have set this paradigm of lacking integrity. I mean, if we look of politics without integrity, if you look at everywhere that everybody's trying to jackpot to, you have integrity matters, right? Being able to be a man of your word matters. Being able to, you might not be able to achieve certain promises that you make, but being able to hold your own self to account matters. That's why we're running there. Unfortunately, in Nigeria now, you have a situation where anything goes, and then that's why our country is anyhow. We have a situation where now dollars are almost 1,000 naira to $1. These things happen because you have let people that have no values to just come into play, and whatever happens goes, right? But this was not always the case. That's why history matters, right? That's why people need to understand and go and look back on our history. There was a time where ideology mattered. People stood for something, right? The Awolos, the Ziks, they stood for something. Nobody is perfect. I'm not saying any politician is perfect, but there should be some base standard. That's one. And then two, in relation to NSAS, listen, for me, the NSAS movement was a movement of young people standing up and understanding that politics, governance is a two-way street. That your leaders, or these people that are in position of leadership, they work for you, right? They should be accountable to you. Now, the aftermath of it is a completely different thing, and we should not conflate these two issues. At night, people came and fired shots at unarmed people, and then there were repercussions to that. Now, I completely condemn all the burning and destruction and killing of policemen that happened after that. But please understand that for a couple of days, you had young people show not only pride, patriotism, also responsibility. They were cleaning up after themselves. They were taking care of homeless people. They were feeding people. They actually even got private security when thugs came that were state-backed and state-sponsored to attack them. You know, there was no destruction in all of that, right? Things happened after people were shot at. I was at Alausa. I was at Alausa because then I was living in Ikeja, so I was part of the rallies, right? So if somebody,
what did you do when it was obvious that some wayward elements outside the Alausa and the Oriental Plaza settlement, some people at the Gomu, some youth, ill-educated, street kids, attacked a police formation, got a police formation, were wearing police uniform, were carrying guns, and when two prisons were breached, when two prisons were breached, in what did people like you do regarding advising the leadership or the nebulous or amorphous leadership of the settlement, both at the Oriental Plaza and at Alausa?
So I think we need to understand something. At a point, right, the whole movement was hijacked for other means and other reasons, and it was not people that were even part of the organization of it. There were not people that you could even reach out to talk to. There were not people that were part of the movement at all. I mean, you had for a couple of days where people were orderly, they were cleaning up after themselves, they were feeding themselves, right? That is responsible behavior. They were not going and burning and breaking things. So this was a completely different group that took advantage of all of this. There are always criminal elements, and unfortunately, when you go and look at the people behind all of these things, they are the same people.
Unfortunately, right as you are on that point, and I fully agree with you, it was also the lack of perception. It was also the lack of judgment. When it was going out of hand, and some criminal elements were exploiting what some responsible people were driving, it was also incumbent on those who orchestrated the movement to say, you know what, it looks like some bad eggs. I
think that when the government actually saw BRT buses come to the front of Alausa and touts, for lack of a better word, came out with machetes to attack innocent people that were just walking past, right, and congregating and exercising their rights, and nothing was done to those people, I think the government set a tone that also led to the ultimate failure of the whole process. I think this process could have been managed better. I think that also lack of leadership on the NSAS movement part was also not the way to have gone. I think that, but then I also understand that because of all the movements that the leaders have always failed, eventually they are corrupted by the government and nothing positive comes out of it. After raising the hopes of people to move things forward, the leadership is corrupted. That was why they did not want any leaders, right? Because they were afraid that the same thing will happen all over again. So I think on both sides there's more than enough responsibility to go around, blame to go around. At the same time, I also think that we should understand that these people that we're talking about that went to start creating all this havoc are people that the state and the country have failed. They failed them. There are a lot of young people that are jobless, a lot of young people that don't have anything to do, a lot of young people that aspire to be the next MC Uluomo, that believe they can only get there because by using violence, right? By robbing people, by doing all these things that are ills to society. And these people are always backed by politicians, right? You didn't find the middle class going around and shooting and killing politicians, killing policemen or burning buildings and all of that, right? So there's a lot of introspection that we need to do as a state, and we need to create alternative ways of living for a lot of young people.
And in the backdrop of that, I can't want to just make now about the delinquency, the high level of delinquency amongst those youths that we have failed as a society. What plan, what informal human capital development plan do you have? These people may not be the kind of characters you want to take through formal educational system. They don't even have the aptitude, they don't have the temperament. What plan would you put in place to retool their lives, engage them, and don't let them want to drift back to the kind of violence that defines their life?
Yes, so there's going to be a lot of community engagement because there needs to be reorientation of people's mindsets in terms of what they expect and the aspirational culture that they've imbibed over the last 2 decades. So we're going to be working with community organizations and communities by themselves. That's the first thing. To show that, there's a new sheriff in town, these will no longer be the norms. Secondly, we're going to invest in a lot of skill acquisition programs domiciled in particular local governments, and then also taking on the peculiarities of that local government in terms of the value chain and the comparative advantage that local government has. So for instance, if we're in Ikorodu or Ekpe or even Badagry to an extent, we'll be looking at the aquaculture industry. How do we equip as many youth as possible to get into aquaculture, to also increase the value chain so that they can also extend that value chain and participate in it? So And then in partnership with that, also incentivizing and creating an enabling environment for businesses, whether it's by giving them land for free, whether it is ensuring that they're not being taxed, to ensure that businesses are going in and setting up and employing these people that we're giving skills to.
All right, we have a caller on the line. Hello, caller, good afternoon. Good evening, sorry. Yes, good evening to you. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, sir.
What is your name?
Tunde calling from Makoka.
Okay, Tunde from Makoka. Please go on with your question.
In 2007, when our brother Femi Pedro was unable to click the ticket of the Action Congress of Nigeria, ACN, I thought, he came to Labour Party and he carried the governorship role which you are now playing. I'm sure you are aware that when he came to Labour Party, he came with so many people who were formerly ATM members. Now that you said that you are going to take part in this, you are going to take charge of our waste in Lagos without using these so-called politicians who you think may frustrate government effort and policy. How do you then compensate them? Do you have a plan for them? Otherwise, it will be the first enemy you get when you are into power. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
So what I talked about was the whole waste management process has been very politicized. We're not saying that we're going to stop the people that are currently, delivering service, because it's all about the value and service you're bringing at an affordable price to the people of Lagos. We're going to open up the space so that more private sector can come in. We're going to make it open and transparent. So if you have the funds to be able to get these equipment, you can get into the business. You don't have to cross bureaucratic red tape to be able to get involved in waste management in Lagos. And we are actually underserved. There are many parts of Lagos that don't have PSP coverage, right? So we need to get more truck owners, more businesses into that sector. And we're going to open it and make it transparent. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that if you're already doing the business and you're doing it properly, you're delivering value, we're not going to come against you. Why? Because you got in with the previous government. No, just keep delivering value at an affordable price. We're happy to work with you. We'll also get more people to come into the space as well, because Lagos State needs to manage its wealth much better.
All right, we're working with time at this point, and very quickly we have this contribution here on our WhatsApp platform. This person says, my name is Tolu from Lekki. Hello to Yray, Mr. Gbola and Mr. Gbadebo. Says, I read a brief about you before this program, and I saw that you had a promising trajectory with the People's Democratic Party, particularly your performance in the 2019 elections. What then motivated you to jump immediately for the top office in Lagos State, leaving your party in the process? And if you don't win the elections, what will be your next step? Defect to the APC or go back to the PDP?
Promising trajectory. I contested for Senate in 2019. I had the most opposition votes in Lagos State, and I was in the race to be the governorship candidate in the PDP. For me, APC is out of it. I believe that, for me, the main reason why I'm involved in politics, aside from governance and potential to govern, is to actually nurture a new voter demographic. I feel that the current voter demographic that votes in Lagos State have been nurtured by the existing status quo. They speak the same language, they have the same values. But for me, there's so many people that wake up in the morning that believe in dignity of labor, that can turn 1,000 naira, even 5,000 naira down on the day of elections, but they are not coming out to vote, they are not participating in elections. And what I'm trying to do, and what I've been trying to do for years now, is to demystify the political process, to get more people engaged, to get more people involved, to redefine the voter demographic that comes to the ballots. And I feel that we have that huge opportunity now. There are a lot of people that have woken up to their responsibility, a lot of people that are hopeful about a new Nigeria, about a new Lagos. And my main mission will be to continue to ensure that that group of people continues to grow and start to have people that are thinking about my set of values, values that can actually move Nigeria and Lagos forward, be the ones that determine who their leaders are.
All right, thank you very much. Conclusively, we're just going to take this one. Hello? Hello?
You were not saying something.
Yes. Conclusively, I want us to wrap up in 1 minute. This one just came in, says, if by luck or by chance you become the governor of Lagos State, will you be willing to probe the present government? Please answer that question together with your conclusion in 1 minute.
The simple answer to that is yes. There are many resources that Lagos has accumulated over the last 20 years that is not reflective in level of development. There, we owe so much money. We have to pay, I think, is it like a significant amount, about 120 billion just to service loans that we've taken. And you're thinking, what was this money being used for? The serious loans were taken from the World Bank for Lagosians to have water. We don't have water. We will probe the government to understand what has happened to all our resources, all the things that have been appropriated, how much value has been given to the state.
On that note, Gbadebo Rhodes-Vivour, thank you for being our guest. For the gentleman who wrote in believing that I was more of an energizer, like I was singing your praise when I was reading your intro, anybody we invite to this show, even if that person was the enemy of the energy, my single parent mother who raised me, I would look for the best of his or her character to put out there before we start killing him or her. And speaking of that, I think it's about time too that some of our listeners suggest names of women of character that we may also use on this platform to encourage our listenership. Mama, Yray Ofigo, producer, supporting presenter today. It's been a good show, I think.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Gbola. All right, always a delight. Thank you. All right, the program continues, the Drive Time show, that is. In about 2 minutes, I'll be back with the news and, of course, more music while you go about your evening. My name is Yray Ofigo, and this is Law FM 103.9.
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.